Liam, it's been a bit of a whirlwind of the last few days. Have you found your first 3 or 4 days at MK Dons?
Loved it. Really enjoyed it. Been challenging, been difficult. I think seeing the game in my head, how I like it to be played and how it looks, and then obviously not having any time to be able to implement that and get that out there. It was a challenge I think at the weekend, but I think there's so many good things here. I think number one, starting with the people. I think how I've been received by the staff, by the players has been terrific, and then the fans as well. At the weekend, I thought it was a terrific atmosphere. I thought the fans were great, especially second half. Really got behind the team, created a real good energy, and I thought that gave the guys a lift ultimately second half. And a little bit of a shame, obviously we couldn't get the goal at the end, but yeah, I have to say really enjoyed the last few days.
So what was it about MK Dons that drew you here?
I think numerous things. I think one, it's got an unbelievable facility, but I think most importantly and number one I'd say would be the playing squad. I think when you look at the group, the age of the players, the quality of the players, the culture amongst the players. We showed the third goal from Bolton pre-game at the weekend. We score a goal and everybody's celebrating, and I think that's really important for us this year. With being a relatively young group, having all the guys, understanding that everyone has to play their part in getting the team ready for the weekend. Whether you're in the squad, on the bench, not in the squad, everyone. The starting lineup can only be as good as the people around it. So that was a big one, knowing that there's a really good group here, and hopefully being able to have an impact on that.
What was the dressing room like when you walked in? Obviously, it's been a tumultuous few weeks for them as well. Obviously welcoming you in with open arms, I assume.
Yeah, and again, Dean and Ray had done a great job, I think, in terms of continuing momentum, and I don't think it's easy for the players. I'm not going to stand here and say it was easy for them, but what it does do, I think, sometimes when you face challenging moments, is brings you together. You have to show resilience. You have to get close together to make sure you ride it out through tough times. And I said it to staff yesterday. It's a bit of a cliche that the family feel, but if you look at a good family, I think it's being able to challenge and have a bit of a rock, but then also showing that support when needed, and also giving the love when it's needed. So I think it's I feel that here definitely with the playing group and the staff, and I'm excited by what hopefully we can achieve going forward.
What does a Liam Manning football team look like?
I think I think that was also another attraction. I think when you look at the style that was played last year, I think there's so many things that align with how I see the game in terms of I'm not coming in and thinking, right, it's a complete overhaul, which again I think is a completely different challenge. I think it's now just obviously putting my spin on certain things. I want us to dominate the ball. I want us to control possession, but I want it to be a real purpose to it. And when I talk about purpose, it's not always necessarily attacking or scoring goals, which is obviously huge, but it might be managing a game with 1-0 up, let's rest on the ball for a bit. It might be we've not had the ball for 5 minutes, we've been sat in the block. Actually, let's calm things down, let's get some momentum back, and let's get some structure shape by keeping the football. So I think it's working really hard to educate the players. Yes, we want to dominate possession, but why? Teach them the why. Spend time teaching why. So I think that will be a big thing. And then out of possession, just intensity. Whether we're in a block, let's be intense with our block. Whether we're pressing, let's be intense with that. And ultimately, hopefully, score some goals. I think that especially when you look at it, fans pay hard-earned money to come and watch football. I think they have a right to try and be we have a right to try. We should try and entertain them. Ultimately, I think we should work hard to do that. So they're probably some of the key principles for me.
I suppose you've walked in, you've taken a couple of training sessions, you've seen them play a game. There are elements of those already beginning to show through for you.
I'd be delighted if I had a couple of training sessions. This morning was the first one with the guys that weren't involved at the weekend. So, I see so many of them traits, and you see so many at the weekend. I thought, like I say, second half especially, once we'd spoken a little bit at half-time around how to build, how to beat Sunderland's block, I thought you saw that come out, and there's no coincidence when you look at the number of chances we created second half. It's sort of really good play. There's some really good moments, and I got excited as well as the fans, I think, by some of the play that led to the chances. So I think it's like I say, it's be good to get this week done so we can ultimately then get some work done on the training pitch. That's also been a real challenge coming in, having 3 games in 1 week, and ultimately the first group session we'll be able to take is Friday, which brings other challenges. So means we have to coach in other ways. So video, individual meetings, unit meetings, team meetings, on the tactics board. I think we have to be cute and clever with how we get the players up to speed quickly, what we're looking for.
How quickly can you start bringing in your own coaches and your own staff members? We've obviously seen you bring Chris in. but there's basically nobody else at the moment, is there? How quickly are you looking to try and bring extra coaches in to help you out?
Yeah, we're currently going through the process. Obviously, we need to add a couple. I think ultimately we're maybe another 4 members of staff across all departments that we need. So I think most importantly is not rushing. I think we have to do what's best for the football club, what's best for the culture. Who's going to come in and help us improve what we're doing here and build on the direction that we're heading in. So we obviously need to get people in sooner rather than later. But speaking with Liam as well, I think it's really important that we get the right people that fit what we're trying to do. So I'm at ease with that. I think what we do is we have you see here that the guys are willing to go above and beyond what their job requirements are, and I think they're terrific traits that only help your culture. So for me, it's about getting the right people in at the right time.
You're looking at the age of the squad, and it certainly makes me feel old at 36. But you look at how young they are. You must sense a huge amount of hunger in them.
Yeah, no, definitely a real energy. I think that's the one, and energy to play the game, energy to improve, get better, to learn. I think that again hits you right in the face when you walk in the changing room, when you're around the place. I came in on the first day on the Friday and there was already 3 guys in the gym. So I think what it does bring is that like I say, that energy, that intensity, that drive. So it's our job now to channel it, to teach the players how to use it to be most effective, and support the team to ultimately win games.
It's probably the journalist's most common asked question, especially during the transfer window, is who you're going to bring in next. But I assume you're going to have to take a look at the squad over the next few weeks and establish some sort of ground plan for a team that you'd like before making any decision on whether or not you're going to bring extra players in.
Yeah, and I think what's really obviously it's been out there around me being a head coach and not a manager, which is obviously a structure that I'm used to. So again, I think it's not just me bringing people in. I think it's a collective. Obviously, sitting with Liam and going through that process where what we have to do here is work for the long term of the club. So it's not just about me and what I want in the short term. Obviously, I play a big part in that, and when I've done a lot of work on the squad composition, the makeup of the group, what's needed, what's required, what will help the team get better. So it'd be sitting down with Liam and spending some time, obviously, to go right. Who's the best fit for the group at the moment, and making sure we get the right people. I think that it's nothing worse than obviously going out there rushing to get somebody in and it not quite fitting. So I have to say Liam's done a terrific job in terms of when you look at the squad currently. So it's something that we'll look at. I know we've got some planned meetings to go through it, and we'll obviously work our way through to get the right people.
Now you mentioned it there, the difference between a head coach and a manager. What is the difference for people who, or like me, who have no idea yet?
Yeah, I think if you look at the traditional manager, I think is someone that's kind of involved in everything. I think when they oversee everything, and the big danger with that is that when the manager leaves and takes some of his staff, he's starting from scratch again. I think what the structure that I work with in Belgium, and also obviously under here now, I think is it's inevitable in clubs that you're going to get change and you're going to get moments of transition. I think it's around trying to disrupt the club as least possible. So I think that's where again, I think it's making sure that even now for me, a big part of my obligation while I'm in this position is to make sure that I do what's best for MK Dons long term. So that structure I think allows that to happen. Is that long term vision and working through the strategy to make sure that we set the club up for the success in the long term.
Do we want to do something separate with Charlton, or do you want to go?
No, straight.
Yeah. Well, not an awful lot of time to deal with Charlton coming up tomorrow night. What have you made of them so far? Have you had any opportunity to look at them at all, or is it just going to be a case of focusing on your team for tomorrow night?
No, we were in yesterday, so we had a staff meeting in the morning, then I spent the afternoon where I watched Charlton Oxford, and then saw bits of Charlton Sheffield Wednesday, and then I watched our game back. So it was a long day yesterday. I'm sure the analyst David's delighted with me keeping him in all hours. So again, I think that's the biggest thing. I think we will work. It's about doing as much as we can to get as much information to the players as we can. So we did a presentation on Charlton this morning, what we expect, what we think they'll do. But again, there's a big emphasis on us. I think it's just a case of showing the players what to expect, and then how we ultimately implement our plan to get success.
I suppose you'll have learned an awful lot from both halves on Saturday.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, definitely. I think again, even now you're just getting up to speed with things. I watched the game back, and there's so many things that you go in. Have they been asked to do that, or so it's just getting up to speed, spending time talking to the players. Dean's been terrific for me in terms of chatting with him. Obviously, his history, with the club, his knowledge of the club, his knowledge of the current group, obviously being where it is. I think it's been great for me to be able to tap into that and kind of fast track some of the things that I'm now more aware of.
That first half, then, was that a case of you telling the players go out and do what you're used to, and then second half was a little bit more what we'd expect from your side as you tinker and you think, okay, these things can be changed.
Yeah, and like I say, it's not about massive rocks for me. I think it's little things. So we spoke at half time just around in terms of their press, how they blocked up, how they pressed, and how we tweaked that just to get a little bit more success. And I felt it had a good impact, I think, in the weekend. So yeah, first half was very much, the worst thing I think I could do is come in and try and make huge changes in the first game, having not had a single session. So for me, it was more around, look, guys, build on the stuff that you've done. Make them feel good ultimately. Get them working hard, create an environment where they can go out and step up. And then second half, obviously, it was about the tactical tweaks, the tactical changes. I just thought we played with a bit more speed, a bit more intensity. There was a bit more purpose, I thought, to the second half, and it was just a couple of tweaks, nothing major, that actually helped us do that.
A lot of coaches at this level, generally, all of their experiences come here in England, but you're quite well travelled already in your career. How's that helped shape you as a coach?
I think what it's done is, I think the big things I learnt working abroad is understanding how you connect with people. I think again, although predominantly we a lot of British players in the change room, again they're all different personalities, different backgrounds, different upbringings, and again I think what going abroad and working with so many different nationalities challenges you to do that. How do you connect with people? How do you show empathy? Emotional intelligence is an extremely important one for me. So there's some of the things I think going away to do that have been real key. And then just my playing philosophy and methodology of how I work. I think stepping out where best part of 12, 13 years it was 8, 10 sessions a week, 2 games a week, and New York having a role of managing staff and creating a program actually kind of allowed me to refine my philosophy whilst still being on the grass, still being around it, but not quite the same intensity. Belgium again, then just that intensity rammed up right through the roof again. So it was a really good, I'd say it was a really good opportunity to kind of reflect and really nail down, the last 12, 13 years of my coaching, where I'm at, and when I step into a role like this, what I want to deliver basically.
You talk about your assistant Chris Hogg's joined you. Obviously his background, much like yourself, largely in academies and working with younger players. With such a young squad here at the Dons, it must be the perfect situation for both of you to work together to really push these players forward.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, age and experience. I think you can have good and bad, right? You can have people that are hugely experienced, but I remember on a course, I think with the FA saying that if you have the same year's experience 10 times in a row, is that a good or a bad thing? So I think he compliments me. Obviously, what's really important for me is people. And again, Chris is someone that I've known a long time that I trust. We're aligned in terms of our values, which again I think is really important. We're aligned in how we see the game. He's playing background as well, obviously up to 27, 28, and the experiences he's had there. And then obviously he stepped up to assist at Ipswich with 4 or 5 games in the Championship as well. So he's got some huge experience, and he's like I say, someone I really trust, and I think he's going to be really good for the club.